Today's lesson is called Plus Talk, Talking to the Bank. Hello everyone, my name is Jeff.
My name is Roger, and today we're going to be talking to the bank, or rather talking to people in the bank because you need to have something done with your money.
Yeah, people at the bank that you talk to when you're doing business there, those people are sometimes called tellers, okay? Bank tellers, and we'll be talking about that right after a short break. Yes, after a short break, we'll start reading from this month's Plus Talk dialogue lesson called Talking to the Bank. Part 1 is called Opening an Account. We'll get into that right after this.
Talking to the bank.
1. Opening an account. Chloe visits the bank to open a new account.
Hello, how may I help you?
I'd like to open a savings account, please.
Okay, I'll need some documents, a photo ID, a taxpayer ID number, and proof of address.
Here you are. But I'd like to hear about the associated fees first.
There's a monthly fee of $5, which you can avoid by transferring a minimum of $20 into the account each month. All of the other charges are standard. There are small fees for making wire transfers or withdrawals from other banks' ATMs.
So if I deposit $20 each month and don't make any withdrawals or transfers, the account is free?
That's right.
大家好，第一部分我们看到名词 taxpayer， 意思是纳税人，像是 In my opinion,The new parking lot is a waste of taxpayers' money. 我认为盖那座新的停车场是浪费纳税人的钱。接着我们看到单字 withdrawal， 这个字是名词，指提款。例如 David made a large withdrawal from the bank before he went on vacation. David 去度假前先从银行提了一大笔钱出来。另外这个字去掉字尾 al 就成了动词 withdraw， 指撤回、取消、收回。我们可以说Leo has decided to withdraw from the negotiations as he can't get the deal that he wants. Leo 决定退出协商，因为他拿不到他想要的合约。或是 The company withdrew its new smartphone when the product was found unsafe. 这家公司收回了被发现不安全的新款智慧型手机。
Okay, so this is part 1, opening an account. That's what Chloe wants to do. So, yes, she visits the bank to open a new account. So she wants to put some money in the bank. She wants to save it in the bank so that she can use it in the future in different ways. And, of course, if you want to do that, well, you need to talk to the bank teller. So I guess she picked a number and her number was called, and now it's her turn to talk to the bank teller. So the bank teller greets her. The teller says, "Hello, how may I help you? What can I do for you today?" And Chloe says, "I'd like to open a savings account, please." Yes, she's being very polite here. Actually, both of them are being very polite. She could have said, "I want to open a savings account," but that's kind of rude. So she's polite here. I'd like, or I would like to open a savings account, please.
Yeah, be polite to bank tellers. You have no idea how difficult their jobs are. By the way, there are a lot of people you will do business with at a bank. Those people at the counter there who all have uniforms on, and they all look alike, and they're standing right in front of counters, chances are those people are bank tellers, okay? Managers, usually they're dressed a little bit better, and you might not talk to them unless there's something special that needs to be done. They might have their own offices and stuff like that. Bank tellers, though, you'll be interacting with them directly in most situations. And yes, if you are doing something simple like opening an account, you'll be talking to a bank teller. And yes, here Chloe is opening up a savings account. A savings account is an account at a bank where you deposit money that you do not intend to spend. You put money in that savings account because you want that money to grow. You put money in there for a rainy day. There's another type of account called a checking account. That's where you put that money that you are going to spend, okay? When you go buy groceries and you pay with a debit card, let's say, you are taking money out of your checking account, not your savings account. That's what a savings account is all about. Now, next, the bank teller says, okay, I'll need some documents, a photo ID, a taxpayer ID number, and proof of address. Yes, you can't just walk into a bank and open up an account with no documents. You got to have some documents on hand.
Indeed, documents, okay? These, of course, are things that will prove to the bank that you are a real person, that you really exist, and that you're not trying to rob them or cheat them or have some sort of scam or something. So, yes, first of all, you need a photo ID. Most people here in Taiwan have their national identity card. That's your photo ID. A card that has your personal information and, of course, a picture of yourself. Your driver's license would also be a photo ID. Maybe your national health insurance card would be considered a photo ID because you do have your picture there. But you also need to have your taxpayer ID number. When you file your taxes every year, you have a special number that you enter onto the form when, again, you report your taxes. And, of course, we're all taxpayers if we're working and giving money to the government. And then also you need your proof of address, okay, which means proof that you live at a certain place, maybe a letter that came for you in the mail, or maybe some documents that came from the government with your name and address written on the envelope.
Usually it's a utility bill is what the bank will ask you for, like your electricity bill, okay? So your electricity bill comes, it comes to where you live, your name's on it. Okay, that's proof that you live there. So that's just another piece of proof that is telling the bank that you are who you say you are. So a photo ID, maybe your social security card if you're in the United States, and then a proof of address. And Chloe is ready. She says, here you are, but I'd like to hear about the associated fees first. It sounds like Chloe is ready and she's also smart. Yes, tell me about the associated fees first. Am I going to have to pay to open up this savings account?
Yeah, what sort of things do I have to pay to have this account? Is there a fee to open the account itself? Or is there a fee that I need to pay every month to maintain the account? If I withdraw money, is there a charge for that, etc., etc.? Those are the associated fees, the money that you will pay along with the account. And here's what the teller says. Well, there's a monthly fee of $5, which you can avoid by transferring a minimum of $20 into the account each month. Okay, so yeah, if you don't do anything with that account, then you're going to have to pay a fee of $5. This sounds like it's a bank account in the United States, but in order to avoid that fee, well, just deposit some money into the account or transfer money into that account, maybe from an account at another bank. Just transfer it in, at least $20 every month, and then you don't have to pay that $5 fee.
Anyways, all of the other charges are standard, says the bank teller. There are small fees for making wire transfers or withdrawals from other banks' ATMs. Anyways, if you make wire transfers, that means you send that money that's in that savings account, let's say, to another bank, okay? That's a wire transfer in this particular situation. And then, yes, if you use an ATM from another bank, there is going to be a fee. Like, if I'm in the United States, my debit card is from a bank called Bank of America. If I use a Bank of America ATM, I will have no charge added when I use that ATM. Now, if I use an ATM from another bank like Chase or something like that, I can use that ATM, but they charge me an extra amount of money. They say to use this ATM, you have to add a $2 fee to what you're taking out or what you're taking out by using this ATM. So if you're going to make a withdrawal using an ATM, there is going to be a charge unless you use our ATM. By the way, a withdrawal, that's when you take money out of the bank.
Yes, indeed. So withdrawal, that's kind of hard to say. Withdrawal, okay? So that, again, is the noun form of when you withdraw money from the bank, when you take money out. And a deposit is when you put it in, and you've got transfers, you've got interest, and all sorts of fun things that happen at the bank. Chloe has another question. So, if I deposit $20 each month and don't make any withdrawals or transfers, the account is free. So she's basically just confirming whether or not she understands the procedure here. I just deposit $20 each month. Remember, if you're in the United States, you will just say dollars, okay? You don't need to add the US to it. So yeah, here's $10 or here's $10 or whatever. And you don't have to say US dollars. Of course, it's going to be US dollars in the United States. So yeah, that's a question she's asking to make sure she understands. And the bank teller says, that's right, you do understand, and now you're free to open your account. Okay, so there you have it there, opening an account at the bank. Now, this happens sometimes if you're traveling overseas or if you're studying or working overseas, you might want to send money overseas. So Chloe's got some more questions to ask of the bank teller right now.
2. Sending money overseas. Chloe needs to transfer some money to an overseas account. I need to send some money overseas. Can you help me?
Of course. The most common method of remittance is using a wire transfer. We charge a fee for this service, though.
How much does it cost?
It costs $45, but there's also the exchange rate to consider. We charge a margin of 5% on this. The receiving bank may also charge a small fee.
Well, I guess these fees are unavoidable. I'd like to go ahead with the transfer.
In that case, I'll need the name and account number of the receiver, the SWIFT code of the receiving bank, and the amount you'd like to transfer.
"第二部分我们看到名词 margin 指利润、差额。例如 The margin we will receive when we sell the car will not be in our favor at all. 我们卖掉这台车的利润完全不会对我们有利。另外，除了上面的意思，这个字当名词时还可以指幅度、边缘，像是 by a wide margin 就表示大幅度的。相反的 by a narrow margin 就表示微幅的。举例来说 The racehorse beat all of the other horses by a wide margin. 这匹赛马遥遥领先其他匹马赢得胜利，或是 Kelly won the game, but by a very narrow margin. Kelly 仅以些微差距赢得比赛。再来，我们看到单字 unavoidable 这个字是形容词，意思是无法避免的。举例来说 Unless we exercise and watch what we eat, gaining weight is unavoidable. 除非我们愿意运动，并且留意所吃的食物，否则变胖是无法避免的。另外，补充一个同义词Inevitable, I-N-E-V-I-T-A-B-L-E, inevitable, 指必然的、不可避免的。例如 It is inevitable that Terry will win the game, since he is ahead by 20 points. Terry 已经领先了20分，他必然会赢得这场比赛。或是 Most scientists say that it is inevitable that sea levels will rise. 多数科学家表示，海平面上升是不可避免的。最后，我们看到片语 go ahead with。加名词表示开始做、进行点点点。举例来说 Tom went ahead with plans to look for a new car. Tom 决定开始看新车了。另外，补充2个包含 ahead 的相关片语。第一 get ahead 表示获得成功，我们可以说 Sharon is trying to get ahead in the real estate business. Sharon 努力在房地产生意中获得成功。第二 ahead of the game 表示居领先地位，像是 The company stays ahead of the game by treating its employees fairly and focusing on customer service. 那间公司借由公平对待员工及专注在顾客服务上来维持竞争优势。
Okay, let's move on to part 2 of this month's Plus Talk dialogue. We're still with Chloe and the bank teller. Now, Chloe is quite savvy. She just opened up her savings account and she was asking all the right questions. But now she needs to use that account, okay? Part 2 is called Sending Money Overseas. Let's see how Chloe handles this whole situation. Now, Chloe needs to transfer some money to an overseas account. And Chloe says, I need to send some money overseas. She says this to the bank teller. Can you help me? She asks. The bank teller says, of course. The most common method of remittance is using a wire transfer. We charge a fee for this service, though. And remember, Chloe is savvy here. She doesn't say, okay, fine. She asks, how much does it cost? She wants to know. And the bank teller says it costs $45, but there's also the exchange rate to consider. We charge a margin of 5% on this. The receiving bank may also charge a small fee.
Indeed. So again, this is more bank lingo here, more bank terms that they use. They have a margin of 5%. Usually a margin is like a space, like on the side of your paper. If you're typing a document in Microsoft Word or something like that, you need to determine your margins, you know, how far from the side of the paper you're going to have until the words actually start. But in this particular case, it is a bank term. It's kind of like a charge, basically a charge they tack on to your money order so that they can make some money from this.
So you've got that margin, 5%. Then you've got a cost of $45, which is quite a lot. And then the receiving bank may also charge money as well to receive this wire that you're sending. Oh my goodness, when you send money, gosh, it's complicated and expensive too. But what can Chloe do? And she sounds resigned to all of this. She says, well, I guess these fees are unavoidable. There's nothing I can do about this. By the way, if something is unavoidable, I should say, there's nothing you can do about it, okay? Sometimes you can avoid something, okay? You can find a way that you don't have to do that thing, or you can find a way to ignore that thing, so on and so forth. That's not the case here. Here, you've got to face the music when it comes to these fees. There's no way of getting around them. Then she says, I'd like to go ahead with the transfer or with the wire. I'm going to wire the money. I'm going to send the money. By the way, if you go ahead with something here, you do it, okay? You agree to proceed.
And the teller says, well, in that case, since you've decided to go ahead with the transfer, I'll need the name and account number of the receiver. Okay, so who is the person you're sending the money to, and what is that person's account number? The teller also needs the SWIFT code of the receiving bank, and also the bank teller needs to know the amount of money that Chloe would like to transfer. That, of course, is before the exchange of the money into the local currency wherever she is sending it. And yes, I remember asking about this when I was back in the United States, how to transfer money to Taiwan from my bank account there. Yeah, you need all this stuff, including the SWIFT code. And in this case, the word SWIFT doesn't mean fast. It just stands for the Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunication. It's a number that all banks in the world recognize, and they need to have this code in order to complete the transfer here. So yeah, they need to have this code for the receiving bank and the amount and the account number, the name, all that good stuff.
Anyways, folks, with that, it's time to end today's lesson and to hear from the Chinese teacher.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。在课文第一部分的对话里面， Chloe 到银行开户，那么银行行员就告诉他说，月费是5块美金，不过只要每个月转账至少20块美金到那个账户，就可以避免那一笔费用了。好，文中是用 transfer 这个字来表达转账。我们来学习它的字首字根。好， FER 这个字根呢，它有携带、运送或者是承受、承担的意思。那么在 transfer 这个字当中， TRANS 这部分表示横越， FER 表示运送，横着送东西，横着运送转送，这样应该不能联想到说 transfer 它有这种转账啊、转学、转车、转移等等的意思。好，那我们顺便补充几个有这一类相同字根的单字哦。第一个是 infer INFER， 它的字首 IN 表示在什么当中， FER 表示携带。好，我们在面对某个情况时，那你就把自己的想法带到那个情况里面去推论猜想那个事情的来龙去脉，把自己的想法带入其中。那或许用这样的方式可以去联想到 infer 它有推论、推断、猜想的意思。好，第二个补充的是 confer CONFER， 它的字首 CON 表示一起， FER 在这边表示承担。碰到问题要一起承担的时候，大家就会去商讨解决办法嘛，所以 confer 它有协商、商谈的意思。如果在后面加上名词字尾 ENCE， 就会得到名词 conference， 大家就比较熟悉，它就有这种会议、研讨会的意思。好，第三个补充的是 prefer， 它的字首 PRE 表示之前， FER 表示拿或是提。那同学们可以试着想，在一堆物品当中，我们会先去拿自己比较喜欢的东西，就好像你在百货公司要抢花车的商品时，比较喜欢的东西一定要抢在别人之前赶快先拿走啊，不然你就买不到了。所以这样去联想到说 prefer 它有偏好、比较喜欢的意思咯。第四个补充的是 suffer， 它的字首 SUF 是来自 SUB， 表示在下方。FER 在这边是承担、承受的意思。那么在下方承担着，就可以去想象那种忍受负荷的画面。好，用这样的方式去想说 suffer 它有受苦、受折磨的意思了。好，那么在第二部分的对话里面， Chloe 她要汇钱到海外，那么银行行员就对他说 In that case, I'll need the name and account number of the receiver, the SWIFT code of the receiving bank, and the amount you'd like to transfer. 其中这个 SWIFT code 指的就是银行国际代码。那我们这边是要来学习 in that case 的用法。好，他表示说在那种情况下，既然如此，假如是那样的话，那么 in that case 通常会摆在句首，它的意思就跟 if that's the case 或是 that being the case 差不多。假设你本要跟室友出去打球，可是外面看起来快下雨嘞，这时候就说 in that case, let's just stay in and play video games. 既然如此，那我们就待在家里打电动吧。好，以上是今天重点整理，我们来回顾今天的单字吧。
Teller. When Mark approached the window, the teller greeted him with a friendly smile. Document. It is a good idea to keep all of your important documents in a safe place. Margin. Kay's company charges only a small margin on its products. Unavoidable. Katie and Tim's differences make arguments between the two unavoidable.
Well, everyone, today's article has come to an end, and I sure hope you guys enjoyed reading and learning along with us. I am Jeff.
I am Roger.
See you next time.